Welcome back to the Ben Rich YouTube channel. Well, another How Tuesday coming at you. I know, it's been a minute since we did one, but we're back at it. So, we have ourselves a 2012 Ford Edge, as you saw in the thumbnail, needing some front wheel bearings. So really it only needs one, but for preventative maintenance sake, we're gonna do both of them, just to help my good buddy Brian out. So, this particular ride here, I think their year span is 2006 to 2014, Lincoln MKZ, and the Ford Edge. So we're gonna go ahead and get the wheel bearing off, get the tire, everything out of the way, and show you how to replace the bearing. Now, there is a special tool I'm going to use, and it's gonna make it helpful. You may not have one. You may have to go to a friend or get the wheel off, take the wheel end to a shop and have it pressed in or out. That's up to you. But we're gonna go ahead and use our shop press to install the bearing, and we'll show you a little bit of a different fashion to remove it as well. So let's get started. So you ask yourself, how do you know which side is bad? Well, if it's bad enough, you'll know, because there'll be some excess movement. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she is pretty freaking loose. So let's start with step one. Get the tire out of the way. All right. Now that the tire is out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and get the caliper bracket pulled out of our way, the caliper and bracket together. We got two 19mm bolts, and we'll get this thing hung. Perfect time to do your brakes if you need them. Just saying. All right, now that we got that loosened up, go ahead and hang your caliper. You don't want to leave it hanging off the hose, just because the weight of the caliper can actually cause the hose to collapse internally. Not good, and not what you want. So, let's pull this rotor out. So the wheel bearing is obviously pressed into this spindle assembly. Now, they do make tools to do this on the car, but you still have to separate the ball joint, you still have to pull the axle out of the way, and it's an expensive tool. So, we're trying to show you in a fashion where, you know, most people know somebody with a press. So hopefully you do, and it'll be super helpful. If not, there is cruder ways of doing it. Big hammer. It works, trust me. But basically, we want to try getting our speed sensor out of the way. We don't want to harm that. Be careful with these. They get kind of corroded in there, and that has an 8mm head. So we're going to start off by working on this to get it out of the way. Then we have our 36mm axle nut and our tie rod end. We do have a pinch bolt as well here. So basically we have 3 points of contact, spindle to the strut. We got spindle to tie rod, spindle to ball joint, and this is off the vehicle. So let's get to it. Just be careful with this. You will have a very bad day if you break this sensor off, or your bolt. So be cautious if it feels like it's not coming out, maybe a little bit of heat, something like that. I know you're saying heat and plastic, but just be conscious. It does work if possible, or if needed. Okay, well that one's moving pretty good. Just wiggle it back and forth. Look at that. If I can do it, you can do it too. Word of advice, do not break the cotter pin off in there. Then you'll be sitting there with a punch trying to remove it. So what I like to do is try straightening it out as best as possible and wiggling it at the same time. So that's moving. That means that's going to come out. And again, if your other parts are bad at this point, you might as well replace them, because you're screwing with them anyways, right? And a couple good tunks on the side. That tapered wedge fit there will drop right out. There it is. There we go. Get your axle nut out of the way, and that's a 36mm. And it's nice when they when your axle slides in like that. But check this out. Now you can really see how bad that bearing is. She is freaking smoked. All right, so now we're gonna get to our pinch bolt, and we'll do our top. So a 13 and a 15, we'll make quick work of your pinch bolt there. So now we need a little bit of downward leverage to pull the control arm out of the way, because we are fighting the sway bar link as well, so there's gonna be a little bit of tension. But a little quick trick is just a piece of chain and a bolt. That'll give us a spot to hook our pry bar. You can use a muffler clamp or anything like that. Just something that'll basically hook around this. I'll show you real fast. There we go. And then we just kind of pull this out of our way and let the control arm back up. So if you're unsure if your struts are adjustable, what you can do is take a can of spray paint and just give yourself a witness mark. So if you got to line it back up, you can line it up around the paint. So we got a 24 on the nut side and then a 21 on the bolt side. Go ahead and get them removed. Okay, you can see that kind of opened up, and then you'll see what that paint did basically is give us a kind of a witness mark to see where it was set up at, and also the crust line you can kind of look at as well. But if you were to take and look at this side of the strut, you'll know right off the bat. So both of my holes are round. If it was an adjustable strut or an aftermarket, which this may be an original, they have the bottom side is kind of oblong, so you can tip the knuckle in or out. So something to think about. So these here have, I don't want to call it splines, but they're kind of like splines. So they wedge into your spindle. So we're gonna have to go ahead and tap on those and get them to drive out. They kind of press in like a wheel stud. There we go. So right there, you can see the knurling that kind of wedges in there, and it really, what it's designed for is to hold the bolt while you tighten the nut up. Okay, now we're ready to pull this out. There we go. There we freaking go. You can really see this thing has been, it's pretty roached. I'll show you how to get it apart. This is where the debates will start, and I promise you that. So, yes, I have a hammer. All I'm trying to do is knock the outer flange out, because if you put it in the press right now, there's a lot of screwing around trying to jig this up, and I've seen guys do that and bend the ears for the caliper brackets. So just be conscious of that. So what we're gonna do is basically just support that. They're not in there that tight. So realistically, a couple of good smacks and that flange will come out, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. Now don't hit your thumb. Look at that. So the next battle with this is, now if you bought a bearing assembly that they sell you this part with it, awesome, good for you. We don't have that luxury, and basically we have to remove this inner race from the existing bearing. So a couple ways of doing it: a little bit of heat, it'll fall off, torch it. I'll probably just put a slit in it with a torch and rattle it off with the air chisel. You can use a grinder. Whatever you can do to get that race off is gonna be huge. So what I didn't show you in the last clip is what I was actually hitting on. So I just have this random piece of steel laying around, and you need something that is gonna hit on just this flange. So with the bearing upside down, this would fit in there, right? So the idea is to just strike the center portion of this to knock this out. If you try hitting on the bearing, there's a snap ring on this side that holds the bearing in. So that's why you have to press this part out. So when we go to reverse engineer this whole process here, you will see why it's important not to strike the bearing. So remember, you're hitting on this flange here or pressing on that, whatever you feel best at the time of doing, or whatever you think is gonna work best for you. For me, that's been the quickest trick, and you see how easy it came apart. Again, you're striking on the inner portion of the flange. And remember, not strike on the bearing. You want it to fall through. So the next step, we're gonna have a snap ring in here that is holding the bearing in. So at this point here, we're gonna go ahead and remove that. Now, this thing here, there's telltale signs it's been apart. Let me show you. You can see where somebody nicked this with a torch already once. I mean, it happens. Did it affect the integrity? No, it'll be fine. And we'll just, you know, obviously you're supposed to be cautious when you do that, but obviously they weren't. But the next thing is we're gonna go ahead and split this race here in a minute. But these sometimes get pretty stubborn, so just think about that as well. Sometimes you gotta use like a hammer and a chisel. I'm gonna bet this is gonna come out pretty easy just because it's been apart before, so. Yeah, just like that. I was kind of betting that was gonna be the case. So at this point here, now we can get the bearing knocked out. Hammer time. A little more brute force and ignorance coming at you. I got just a steel spacer on there, and that is just on the back of the bearing. You're not striking on the spindle, obviously, and we're gonna go ahead and knock that out too. Again, if you had a way of jigging it up safely in your press, you could press it out also. This just to be a little more efficient, I should say. There it is. So while you're at it, your best bet is to go ahead and clean this groove up. Just take a pick or a screwdriver, whatever you got, and kind of get all the rust and corrosion out. The snap ring will just fit in there way better. Just a quick douche and usually do the trick. Just wipe it out, make sure there's no burrs or anything in there. You want that bearing to seat all the way. So when it comes to pressing the bearing in, you need to find something that can sit on the back of this and support the backside. Basically, because this won't obviously fit on there without having a little bit of height to it. So I just got some random cones laying around just from years of doing this stuff, and basically we're gonna set it on there. Now could you, I mean realistically, if you were desperate and you were safe, you could hammer that bearing in. I'm not going to, but you definitely could if you did not have a press. Just be cautious not to hit the race. But let's go ahead and jig this up and get her pushed together. So we're opting in for a Motorcraft bearing, putting a factory OEM style. You seem to get a little extra life out of these versus some of the aftermarket brands, but we'll see how long this one lasts.
There's always time for lubricant.
Go ahead and lubricate that all up, and we're gonna set her in, and here's where all the magic happens here. Now, you wanna find something that's gonna press on the outer race. You don't wanna be pushing on this inner portion because then you jeopardize the bearing. So I just got a plate here that works out well. Again, if you were clubbing it in with a hammer, you're still in the same boat. As long as you don't hit that inner race, it would be fine. And you'll see it just start gracefully going down. Okay, now that that's seated all the way, so now you pretty much have to use the old bearing as a tool as well. So we need to get the bearing below the threshold where the snap ring is. So the trick I always do is use your old bearing, because obviously the race is the same diameter. So we'll do that and reinstall our plate. Now this next little bit only has to go down probably 1/4 of an inch. So don't go crazy, pay attention. You don't want that slipping off and jeopardizing the new bearing. And that's it. Now obviously this is the same outside diameter, but it isn't as tight where the snap ring is, so a little bit of effort, it'll pop right out. So now we're going to go ahead and install our snap ring, and then at that point we can press our new flange in. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and cut the race off. So we ended up getting a new tie rod end for the driver's side. There's a little more play after I checked it than we were hoping for, so we're going to go ahead and replace it while we got it apart. But I wanted to show you something. Our snap ring didn't have as much spring tension as it should. It just kind of, like I said, it kind of fell out. It's been used a couple times, so a lot of times it's better to just replace them to begin with, then you know what you got. So here's a Dorman number 933-457. It's gonna be a new snap ring. It's gonna fit right in there, and it's gonna have the spring tension that is needed. So let me slam this in. I'll show you that real fast, and we can get this race cut off. All right, same treatment. Go ahead. We got that new snap ring we're gonna get installed. Just use your snap ring pliers, give her a swoosh. And you'll know when it's in because it'll just kind of pop out. There you go. So the objective is just to cut this race, and then basically we'll take our air chisel and split it. That way we can walk that off and not harm this anymore. Now you can use a torch or whatever. Like I said, you just need to get this race out of here. Now I use an air chisel. You could use a regular chisel. Basically we want to try splitting that. Just like that, and then it'll walk right off now. See how it cracked? So when you go to press this back together, the biggest thing is with these bearings is you gotta support the inner race. It'll push together just fine on this outer race, and then it's just gonna pop this one out if you don't support it. So whatever you do, make sure you have something that is feeding across that all the way. You don't want to push against this. You want to support the actual bearing when you go to press it together. Same treatment, lube her up nice, and then we're going to go ahead and put our flange on and press it together. And just a reminder, make sure that snap ring's in. Don't forget about that. Cause yourself some trouble. Goes in like butter. And you'll feel it tension up when it bottoms out. All right, let's get this thing thrown on. I'm gonna throw you guys in a quick time lapse because you knew how it came apart, so I'm sure you know how it goes back together. Just remember when we get to the axle nut, we do have to torque that to spec, and that is 258 foot-pounds, and I will mention it again when we hit it with the torque wrench. And then I gotta change the tie rod end now, so it is what it is. Part of the game, folks. Let's get to it. So here's where it gets critical. Now, these are a nylock style nut, but they're obviously being reused, so I like to put a little thread locker on them, or you should replace the nut. So remember, this is 258 foot-pounds of torque. So if you know the torque wrench that big, I know auto parts stores run them out and stuff like that, just make sure it hits 258. Now I'm just bringing it up with the impact. We're gonna hit it with the torque wrench now. So you ask, how in the hell are you gonna hold this? Well, we're just gonna jam a screwdriver in so the rotor can't turn, and then we can tighten it up. So obviously with that tie rod end replacement, it's gonna have to get set up for an alignment, and I probably should have cleaned the threads for the next guy, but we're gonna see how it is. If you get lucky and they're dimensionally the same, just check out the tape measure. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you gotta redo it. But either way, you're here for wheel bearings. Let's torque this up. So I have my gear wrench, torque wrench here. And I got her set at 250, but it is 258. That's the highest my wrench will go. But you can watch mine go over that. And by all means, 258 is quite a bit. So right there was 249.2. So a little bit more. All right, last piece of the puzzle. Don't forget the torque lug nuts. We're gonna hit these at 110 foot-pounds. Well, friends, that is how you throw wheel bearings on a 2012 Ford Edge, which is 06 to 14. And I said MKZ earlier, I meant MKX. It's the Lincoln version of one of these things, all right? So, guys, if you are one of my regular scheduled viewers, I appreciate you, and thanks for supporting me on these How Tuesdays. If you are stopping in for information, thank you. We appreciate it. Make sure you give me that thumbs up and a subscribe. It helps the channel grow because we're taking this thing to the freaking moon, guys. I appreciate your support. Make sure you like, subscribe, share all good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.